to interpreting autistic behaviour for carers. Social stability, feeling comfortable in a group of people. The aim of this session is to explain issues caused by a lack of social stability. Understanding motivations behind autistic behaviour can help create a better experience for everyone involved when supporting autistic people. We will use real autistic people's motivations to highlight possible reasons for the autistic behaviour witnessed when social stability is denied them, hopefully creating an understanding for carers as well as family and friends around the difficulties brought on by the unexpected events caused by social situations. The examples of autistic behaviour will be demonstrated by actors from the Warner Brothers TV show The Big Bang Theory. We will apply real autistic points of view to what might be happening. We hope to show that autistic behaviour has a reason behind it and can be managed when neurotypical and autistic people work together and manage their expectations of each other. Warner Brothers, The Big Bang Theory. Warner Brothers never mention autism in the show. However, the Sheldon character's behaviours are recognisable as autistic traits. For training purposes, we will review Sheldon as an autistic person. The Sheldon character offers an opportunity to describe what might be happening behind some common autistic behaviours. Clips have been edited for training purposes. Clips are used to review autistic behaviour, to explain issues raised in the TV show. All rights are held by Warner Brothers Inc. for The Big Bang Theory. Why is social stability so important? It allows people to function in a social group. Social stability allows the human race to live together and work together. Being able to understand the mood of a group is an important skill if you want a successful society. For neurotypical people, this skill is instinctive. Social stability helps ground people in the group and gives them confidence to enjoy being with other people. Neurotypical people may have anxiety in a group, but they are able to read the signs of speech, body language, to gauge the mood of the group to help manage their anxiety levels. Neurotypical people are able to simply talk to each other to feel comfortable and understand the mood of a situation. People with autism are not able to make these adjustments to understand the mood of the group. Autistic people have to create a form of stability for themselves. Sometimes their methods are considered annoying and childish and cause neurotypical people distress. Understanding there is a fundamental meaning of anxiety behind behaviours may help alleviate some annoyance for neurotypical people. To illustrate how important this group understanding is, let's look at this group of pigeons while they feed. Without any sign we can see, the group leaps into the air to avoid a possible danger. Imagine if one pigeon in that group could not understand the social sign for danger. It would be at a real disadvantage. How long would that pigeon stay alive? In this clip from The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon is trying to create a sense of stability to deal with a social visit.
Penny, that's where I sit.
Sit next to me.
No, I sit there.
What's the difference?
What's the difference?
Here we go.
In the winter, that seat is close enough to the radiator to remain warm, and yet not so close as to cause perspiration. In the summer, it's directly in the path of a cross breeze created by opening windows there and there. It faces the television at an angle that is neither direct, thus discouraging conversation, nor so far wide as to create a parallax distortion. I could go on, but I think I've made my point.
Do you want me to move?
Well,
To sit somewhere else.
fine.
Sheldon, sit!
Let's look at that scene again through autistic eyes. Sheldon is reaching for a comfort zone that will help him deal with a social event, and Leonard is not allowing Sheldon to reach it. Comfort zones create a mental stability which allows an autistic person to be able to tolerate better an unexpected event. The first sign there is a stability issue is when Sheldon turns to Penny and explains,
That's where I sit.
autistic people will avoid talking to people unnecessarily. The fact he is explaining his reasons shows it is important to him.
Perspiration. In the summer, it's directly in the path of a cross breeze created by.
Another sign of stress is Sheldon's awkward and lost body language when asked to find somewhere else to sit. The actor does a good job at showing how lost the autistic person would feel in a situation like this. Sheldon now looks very childish. This is because his brain can't process the unexpected event. He is trying to comply, but he cannot focus on the new task. He already has a place to sit. Why would he sit anywhere else? His brain is telling him it is wrong. Neurotypical people might think this scene is just about sitting down and Sheldon getting his own way, when really it is about a lack of social stability causing anxiety. It's not a child trying to get their own way. This is an adult with a disorder. This person cannot think like you. Autistic behaviour can feel very childish or stubborn to neurotypicals, creating a mindset of, don't give in to them. Leonard was in this mindset. Avoiding this mindset when supporting autistic people is very important, as it can cause real harm to the autistic person's understanding of themselves. An autistic mind cannot stop analysing events that it doesn't understand. Why couldn't Penny move? I explained why it was important. What did I do wrong? An autistic person thinks they are being as reasonable as any other person. They cannot understand why they are misunderstood. Including an autistic person's rituals when supporting them is a people-centered approach. We are not children, we are adults who see the world differently to you. Triad of impairments. What do they actually mean? The triad can be hard to understand and apply to real situations. The list of impairments are social and emotion, language and communication, and flexibility of thought. Social and emotional. Managing social events and understanding neurotypical emotional reasons are impaired. Language and communication. Understanding what is meant by the words and secondary language, such as body language, is impaired. Ability to communicate their meaning is impaired. Flexibility of thought. Ability to imagine what a person might want or is thinking is impaired. Ability to manage unexpected events is impaired. Social and emotion. Sheldon is unsettled by this social event, which makes him anxious. He doesn't understand the emotional response attached to his request for Penny to move due to this impairment. Language and communication. Part of his confusion is due to his inability to explain himself well. He thinks he has made it very clear how important the issue is for him. The autistic person will be confused that his friends are stopping him on purpose for some reason he can't see. Flexibility of thought. Sheldon can't imagine why Penny is there, how long she will stay, and what is expected of him while she's there. This will make him anxious. Thinking through the triad of impairments will help a carer or friend understand the limitations and what issues might occur before a social event, helping to mitigate the anxiety an autistic person might experience. Understanding the impairments will also help explain why sometimes we seem difficult. That scene again with the triad of impairments applied to Sheldon's behaviours. Sheldon shares a flat with Leonard. Sheldon will have created mechanisms to deal with the unexpected events while sharing a home. One of those is his own place to sit. This means Sheldon always has a place to go when things change. This place will create stability or comfort. Flexibility of thought. His inability to understand others has led to this coping strategy. Triad tells us that Sheldon will be anxious due to Penny's visit. His inability to understand the emotional reason for her visit. In this clip, not one element of the triad has been addressed, leading to an unpleasant event for everyone. Penny asks why it is important. Sheldon goes on to explain some of his reasons. He believes he is explaining why it is important. He tries to use reasons that Penny will understand, but the impairment of communication means his message is not getting through. Communication is one of the major difficulties. Neurotypical people talk for fun, and many things they say are not to be taken seriously. Autistic people tend not to do this. It is hard to communicate, so each time an attempt is made, it is normally for a reason, even if it is not making much sense to the neurotypical. When supporting a person, it is a good idea to try and find out if something more serious is hidden behind any communication they attempt to make. Neurotypical people might look at Sheldon's reasons and conclude that some of those seem a bit selfish. Autistic people also suffer from sensory impairments, such as light and sound. Sensory effects on autistic people can be quite unpleasant and distracting. The selfishness comes from the flexibility of mind, the inability to imagine what others might want. When Sheldon realizes that his plea has gone unheard, he is unsure what to do. This was unexpected. His brain now is analyzing what has just happened. His focus is on what went wrong and is unable to function in that moment to find a new seat. He isn't acting like that on purpose. He is trying to comply. He isn't even aware he is acting strange. It is hard to make a new choice at short notice. Choices for many autistic people take a long time to make to ensure the correct outcome is reached. He is also feeling very uncomfortable and let down by the people around him. Thoughts for carers, family and friends. Working with autism, not against it. Most high-functioning autistic people try to fit in with the neurotypical world. The triad of impairment means that they are just not very good at fitting in. An autistic person's reasons for things they do are regularly dismissed or misunderstood by neurotypical people due to the autistic person's inability to explain themselves well. Many autistic people are wary of explaining how they feel because having your feelings dismissed is unpleasant. This can lead to isolation. Autism. You can't cure it. It is annoying, scary, lonely, and exhausting. The emotional state of autism is linked to the fight or flight human survival instinct, which is why autistic behaviour appears to be predictable and unpredictable. Predictable if autistic people stick to what they know, their routines, or not going outside, for example. Unpredictable if something unfamiliar or unexpected is asked of them. The fight or flight process is exhausting. It changes your body chemistry, increases your heart rate, and raises your body heat, and focuses your thought processes down to just one thing: fight or flee the problem in front of you. This happens a number of times a day for most autistic people, and it is unpleasant to experience, which is why autistic people can be difficult about doing things they think will cause a fight or flight response. Fight or flight response is sometimes called a meltdown. This is a good description. During a meltdown, the body chemistry changes, the worldview disappears, and you are unaware of everything you are doing. Things become very black and white, and you just want it to stop. Not all autistic sufferers are as aware of themselves as Sheldon is. Sheldon knows he is annoying, but he doesn't know why they find him annoying. Most of the time, he thinks it's because they are not clever enough to understand he is only trying to help them. This is a common belief by autistic people. They are not annoying, they are being helped. Tolerance for routines and rituals will stabilise the autistic person and give everyone involved the chance of a meltdown-free day. Allowing time for the autistic person to explain their reasons, even if you feel it does not need explaining, will make that person feel valued. Autistic people are not children, but have a childlike approach to some things. Some have linked this to a possible misdevelopment of the infant brain, where a natural cull of brain cells only used when a baby doesn't take place, leaving the autism sufferer with brain cells designed for rapid growth into adulthood. Remember, autistic people look like everyone else, but autism is classed as a disability, a difficulty that you do not have. Your support can make a big difference for someone. It may not look like it sometimes, but it is true. The person you live or work with might not outwardly show you much appreciation. If you know what to look for, you will be surprised how much that person likes you. If an autistic person keeps bringing issues to you to be fixed, or even moaning to you about things around them, believe it or not, these are signs that that person appreciates you. In the last few years, autism has been grouped with learning disability. This is not helpful for all involved, as the two issues are very different. If your experience is with learning disabilities, the skills you use in that sector are not always helpful when supporting high-functioning autistic people. If you have to work between the two, Remember to swap your methods of support. As a carer, you get to go home and get away from autism. Remember, the autistic person does not. Please remember that you yourself are human and affected by human nature. You are the carer. It is your job to keep your ego in check. Be aware of how your annoyance affects the support. And childish behaviour doesn't mean you treat an adult as a child. Choices. What's important to you may not be for me. The way autistic people make choices might help demonstrate the difference between the neurotypical way of thinking and the autistic way. Neurotypical people make choices sometimes with very little thought, a spur of the moment sort of thing. Whereas an autistic choice will need to be researched and thought about for a while before a choice can be made. Every subject or choice is as important as the next for autistic people. Without a proper understanding of a subject, an autistic person will become uncomfortable making a choice and become overwhelmed and distracted by not knowing enough about the subject, whereas the neurotypical mind can prioritise what is important for that moment quickly. Sheldon can't choose a new seat because he is thinking too much about the reason for sitting, whereas the neurotypical person understands that in that moment sitting down is only a temporary state and does not need much thought. Autistic people use a different emphasis for their choices compared to the neurotypical people, allowing the autistic person the right to make their own choices in their own time, as choices are hard to make for many autistics. This is why routines become ingrained. A routine has removed the need to make choices. All the decisions were made long ago when the routine was created, alleviating the process of choosing. Autistic people make choices based on their condition, what will affect them, what they understand and what they like to do. You might not understand their choice because you are not autistic, but as long as it is safe and legal, you should support them. Being able to make your own choice is what makes us human. Encouragement to try something new is recommended. You will have a fight on your hands with most autistic people, but I have learnt so much about myself and the world because I have been encouraged to do something I would not normally do. I would like to say that I didn't make a fuss beforehand, but that would be a lie. All of the people who encouraged me to try new things were people I trusted, and because I was with them when trying out something new, even the things that didn't work well were okay because I had support. But I did moan a lot. Even moaning, I was enjoying the experience on some level, mainly because now I know not to do that again. When working with autistic people, try to limit the choices a person needs to make. And when you know a big change is coming, try to give the autistic person enough time to make the choice. Now let's look at the same situation. Sheldon needs to make a choice. This time the neurotypical person is allowing him to go through his process.
Now, the thing I wanted to talk to you about is, since Leonard and I have become friends, I was just... Want to sit down?
Oh, I wish it were that simple. You see, I don't spend much time here, and so I've never really chosen a place to sit.
Well, choose.
There are a number of options, and I'm really not familiar enough with the cushion densities, airflow patterns, and dispersion of sunlight to make an informed choice.
All right, why don't you just pick one at random, and then if you don't like it, you can sit somewhere else next time.
No, that's crazy. You go ahead and talk while I figure it out.
Okay. Here's the thing. So I've known for a while now that Leonard has had a little crush on me.
A little crush? Well, I suppose so, in the same way Menelaus had a little crush on Helen of Troy.
Alright, yeah, I don't really know who they are.
Well, Menelaus was the brother of Agamemnon.
Yeah, I don't care. The point is, Leonard isn't the kind of guy I usually go out with.
Leonard isn't the kind of guy anyone usually goes out with. Would you be open to rotating the couch clockwise 30 degrees?
No. What I'm saying is, Leonard might be different in a good way. Obviously, my usual choices have not worked out so well.
Your last one worked out well for Cuther Polly. He got a free iPod. Oh, glare.
But on the other hand, if things don't go well with Leonard, I risk losing a really good friend. I mean, I'm guessing he's not looking for a fling. He's the kind of guy that gets into a relationship for, I don't know, like you would say, light years.
I would not say that. One would say that a light year is a unit of distance, not time.
Thank you for the clarification.
Draft. You see, people hear the word year and they think duration. Foot-pound has the same problem. That's a unit of work, not of weight.
Right, thanks.
It's a common mistake.
Not the first one I've made today.
I think this will be my seat.
This time the situation was stress-free for everyone. Penny thinks it's strange, but treats him on his level. In this clip, the situation is similar. However, the neurotypical person handles the situation in a different way, by allowing Sheldon to go through his process. She, of course, thinks it is strange, but she gives him the time, which is a more pleasant experience for both of them. Penny starts talking and then notices Sheldon frozen to the spot by the door, due to the choices he will need to make if he does move.
Want to sit down?
Oh, I wish it were that simple.
The autistic person is still anxious even being with a friend. He would be happy just standing there until it was time to go. It saves having to make a choice.
Familiar enough with the cushion densities, airflow patterns, and dispersion of sunlight to make an informed choice.
Each choice needs analysing for many things, and while he is doing that, he needs to maintain social skills to talk to Penny. Penny is an autistic-friendly person. She is consistent and knows her own mind. She is straight to the point. This makes life much easier for the autistic person. Penny gives clear and consistent answers to questions. She doesn't answer with another question, nor does she try to be overly polite. She just accepts Sheldon as a little odd and doesn't challenge his strange behaviour. During Sheldon's search for a seat, he asks her if she would be willing to move the sofa. Without missing a beat, she says no. She doesn't challenge why he would want to move the sofa, she just answers. He does not feel she is being rude, there is no emotion attached to his decision, it just needs to be made.
Would you be open to rotating the couch clockwise 30 degrees?
No. What I'm saying is...
There appears to be no warmth between Penny and Sheldon. However, as the show continues over the years, we see their relationship become one of the closest in the show. I have experienced this myself over the years, becoming friends with someone that seems an unlikely fit, just because they are consistent. This happens, I believe, because some people are autistic friendly in their nature, like Australians, for example. They are normally straight talkers and do what they say they're going to do. As an autistic person, you can take it or leave it, but you can understand it. Working with autism when possible and not trying to cure it will lead to a more positive outcome for all involved.
I think this will be my seat.
Never promise something you can't deliver. It is a neurotypical thing to say what you hope will happen. But if it is out of your control, it is best to say nothing for definite. If an autistic person is let down too many times by the same person, even if it is not their fault, the autistic person will lose interest in your support, making your job harder. Explain why the individual has to do what they have to do. Go into detail, maybe step by step. Find an advantage to the individual and explain it's in their best interest. Also, be positive and authoritative, even if you are not sure it is all going to go well. Never say negative fears, but be ready to address any issues if they come up. Work out the time the event will take to give the autistic person a time when they will be back where they feel comfortable. Explain what will be expected of them and explain you will be supporting all the way through the event. Point out stereotypical things that might go wrong and how you will fix them. If you know there are going to be problems, like not being seen straight away, have a plan and explain it to the autistic person. Do not worry if the plan goes wrong on the day. That's life, things go wrong. Autistic people are better at dealing with the now and can see that you did what you could to fix things. The fear of the unknown cannot be overstated when working and living with autistic people, so make it known wherever possible. You may have an agenda that needs to be completed if you are working with someone. You will achieve more in your support session if you work with their routines, and hopefully your session will become part of a routine. When an autistic person is presented with any kind of decision, This is going to cause that person to struggle to choose quickly. Each choice will be treated with as much care as any other choice. What will seem simple to a neurotypical person will require analysing each detail for the autistic person, however small it is. When you have been working with an individual for a while and they get used to you, they will become more forgiving. Most autistic relationships start slowly and a bit rocky. Stick with it and you might be surprised. Conclusion. Thank you for supporting autistic sufferers. To end this session, I'd like to thank anyone who makes an effort to understand autism. And a big thank you to all those people who work in social care. You make a big difference. Thank you all. I always end my sessions with this thought. If a neurotypical person did the things autistic people do, that person would be doing it on purpose to push your buttons. When an autistic person does it, most of the time they have no idea they could be pushing buttons. It's human nature to get annoyed. Most of the time, autistic behaviour is not aimed at you personally, however much it might feel like it. So remember, it's nothing personal, it's autism.